All right, here we go. I graph the following sinusoids. And so we've got, it's written in a slightly different form than we're used to, but really it's just having that V value out front. And so let's write the generic form for ourselves that y equals, we're doing cosine, so y equals A times the cosine of B times the quantity x minus h, and all that plus V or plus K. Um, Now we've got uh, that V value, that K value has just been moved out front, but that's fine. You can think of that as a minus 2 at the end, and that should be pretty straightforward there. But here we go. So again, minus 2. Don't let the form of itself change, trip you up, but again, that's all that's going on with that there. So how are we going to graph these? Well, I've got the steps listed out here. It's going to seem a bit more complicated because there's more pieces than what you've been used to so far. But I think that this process is going to become pretty straightforward to you as you get used to it and as you practice. So first, sketch your new axis. Your new axis is really what your V value is. So if it's been raised, if it's been lowered, for us it's a -2. So we're going to go down 2. Here's our new axis. I'm going to make that line as straight as I can, our kind of new midline, our new axis, and label that. That's at -2. All right. So once we got our new axis, again, the V value or K value, depending on how you want to look at that, we're going to mark our maximum and minimum because they've changed now that the graph has been raised or lowered. We're going to use our A value, 3, to figure out how far up and how far down we have to go. So we're going to go up 3, so up 1, 2, 3, so a +1. And for a minimum, go down 3, -3, -4, -5. There's our new maximums and minimums, again, based off of that A value. Next, mark our phase shift, how far to the left or how far to the right this graph has gone. That's based on H. And remember, H is actually the value that's being subtracted from X. So the generic form has that minus in there. So all we want here is the 2. And we're going to go the right 2. So 1, 2. It'll be somewhere along here. Will be kind of that new point. Now we got to figure out, is it going to be a 0, a maximum, or a minimum? What's happening? So we need to look at, well, what graph is it? It's a graph of cosine. And where does cosine start at? And well, cosine starts at the maximum. So it's a positive A value. So we're going to start at the maximum. So up here, and that point's going to be 2, 1. There's our new starting point there. And now we need to find the period and divide it into quarters. So what is our period? Well, our period is equal to 2 pi over b. Our b value is pi over 3. So substitute in b right there, pi divided by 3. And really, we don't like to divide by fractions. This says pretty much the same thing as 2 pi times the reciprocal, so times 3 over pi. Pi divided by pi cancels out, and 2 times 3 is 6. Our new period is 6. Now we want to, and real fast, I'm going to just mark that out as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my next maximum for my graph. Now from there, a couple ways to think about how you want to mark out your quarters. You could do it that taking that and cutting it right into half, or we can find out exactly what the quarter value will need to be. Whichever way you're more comfortable with is really the right way to go with that. So if our period is 6, we want to know how far, so think of your unit circle, where's our major points that our maximums, our zeros, and our minimums are going to be at. Well, we're going to divide 6 into 4, divide that period into fourths. And that's going to leave us with 1.5. Every 1.5 we're going to be at our new kind of key value, new point. So we're in 1.5, another 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. Back to our full period of 6. All right, so let's kind of get those values and mark them out. So at 0.5, think of if we were at a maximum and we were going backwards, we're now at our 0 value. We're back on the axis. Another half turn around the circle, now we're at our minimum. Again, it's lining up with this value right here. Another half turn around the circle, and we're at 0 again, or relative to our axis. And then that last turnaround, we're back at the minimum. So let's go ahead and label those 4 points. So the period being 6, if I went back 6, this is going to be -4, 1. This point here is -2.5. Oops, -2, 0.5, comma, what's our y value there? Well, our y value is -2. Maybe I should, let's do that kind of in a darker green. Maybe you can see it easier. That would be -2.5, comma, -2, the x and y value. Here we've got -1, comma, -5. This point here is 0.5, comma, let's see, what's our y value? -2. And then we're back to 2, 1. And again, this point over here was -4, 1. And you could keep on going. So if we go another 1.5, right there's our next key point. We're at, what would that be, 2, 3, 3.5, 3.5, -2. And you can keep on going. So once we've got all those marked out, we've marked the period of one full cycle by starting at our phase shift where our new kind of originating point is going to be, and then using the period, using the quarters to be at a maximum or right at the axis at our relative 0. And so finally, let's actually graph it. Here's our graph. So starting at max, down to our 0, to our minimum, our 0, up to our maximum. There's one complete period of the graph. If we had been asked to do, you could have chosen a different complete period. We have a 0 to a 0, another correct answer. Let's say one of your test questions is going to be something like graph 1 complete period. Here's another correct answer. If we started just a little later, then that, probably a bad color to choose actually. But hopefully you can see that from here to here is also one full period. And that would be another correct answer. All right, hope that helps.